5.
Thank you, AW7N. Standing by for Net at the top of the hour. Anybody that's interested can check in and check out or join the conversation. Western Washington Amateur Television Network will start at 8 p.m. Pacific.
Good evening, all. 87NP.
K9PQ repeater test. It's looking good. Standing by for Net. K9PQ.
KD7ZYM testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Node 3, 4.
K7ITX testing.
And 2. Node 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 0.
Testing.
And good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that engaged in digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to a crossband repeater on Cougar Mountain and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about our group, Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll find a link to YouTube, where we stream our nets Wednesdays and Saturdays between between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, you'll find the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on once you're on our site. Also, we simulcast our audio with our 2-meter sister station, WW7ATS 147.08, with a tone of 103.5. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs contact before the net gets underway. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. ZYM. Welcome back. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Already checked in by video link has been Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma. Bob, K9PQ in Oak Harbor. Richard, K7ITX in Kent. Jim, N7QO in Covington. WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, and Carlos, 87NP in Clyde Hill, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is anybody else wishing to check into the net this evening? Hearing none, we'll start off the net with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU, over here in North Tacoma. Well, I was talking a little bit earlier and told everybody that was on Zoom at that, or on whatever it is, at that time that it had rained here a little bit. The wind stopped blowing from the north about 5:30, and then it got real calm, and then of course the clouds were starting to build up. And then it rained for a few minutes, and we heard one loud thunder. I just looked out, and there was some puddles on the driveway down there, and I couldn't see any raindrops in it, so I think it quit. So anyway, I got 86 degrees. I had 87 degrees a few minutes ago. But, see, I guess I'll turn it back to net and see what everybody else has to talk about. Nice to see everybody. It's always good to see you guys. And back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. Let's pick up Bob, K9PQ in Oak Harbor.
Okay, I see my call zone on my picture. Good. This is Bob, K9PQ, and I am at my usual spot, the little city park down here right at the water. Looking behind me now, you can see the sun kind of quite a bit to the north, but of course in the west setting and behind clouds. Let's turn the camera around now. There we go. So that's the view into the water. Very, very calm tonight. There's no wind really at all. I'm at the edge of the park, so I'm going to just quickly go by these houses. I don't want to freak them out. So we'll walk down the beach here a little bit. The tide's coming in. It's very close to high tide. You can see where kind of the wet sand ends, the dry sand begins. Haven't seen any kind of sea life. I mean, there's the usual, empty shells here and there, a little bit of seaweed, but not even any barnacles. I think the tide is too high for that. We do have our usual shelter. It seems to change from time to time. I think mostly it's kids. I think that one thing was kind of a one-off with all the stuff there, although somebody if you can see this, I'll come in a little closer. Somebody did leave a belt, so always something new to see here. And there's the little fort, I would call it, when I would build such things as a child. It's one of the few days I can be out here in a t-shirt out at the water. Normally with the breeze coming off the water, it's just a little chilly for that. But it was just about as warm as it's been today. It started out already in the low to mid 70s, I think, in the morning. And usually it gets down well into the low 60s, even maybe 50s. But it was in the low to mid 70s and climbed up into the low 80s. And I don't know if it's just the summer we're having or if it's that much cooler here than other places, but I don't think I've seen it much above today. And with these clouds, and you can see we also have a lot of clouds all around, pretty thick out this way. This is the way to the west, pretty thick, and going on around to the south. Not a lot of blue sky to speak of. There's some right above me, which is nice, but not a lot of blue sky to speak of, and I think it's holding in the heat. That and the fact that it's just so calm makes it very pleasant to just be out here in my t-shirt. I don't think I'm going to get to do that very often. Okay, well, that's good for starters. I'll send it on back. This is K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks with that. Let's go to Richard in Kent, K7ITX.
Okay, well, real good, Bob. God, I'm kicking myself. Though. I'm here at the Northwest Kidney Center, and generally I have a Kindle with me to see the video. Kindle being like an iPad, and usually have it tuned into our streaming video, and I'd be able to see. I could hear the waves kind of lapping up onto the beach. That was a real good sound effect. But I really miss seeing the real good video. So anyway, yeah, your descriptions are just excellent. So as far as it goes for me, I had my semi-annual exam for post-lung transplant examination with the post-transplant doctor. They did a chest x-ray, and they had me do a pulmonary function test. Blow and inhale about as hard as you can, blow your brains out, actually. But I guess I passed. They said, we'll see you in 6 months. So, boy, that's better than a kick in the rear, and instead of being told you're entering rejection, which rejection is one of our common problems with people in my situation. But not me, at least not this time around. So I'm pretty happy about that. So now I just patiently am waiting for a kidney transplant. And, hopefully I don't move to Toledo, Ohio, where in Toledo, Ohio, they're only waiting 2 to 6 weeks once they're on the list. Then we wait 2 to 6 weeks and they get a new kidney. So here it's more like 2 to 3 years. So I don't know. I mean, Maybe you guys will hear me in Toledo someday. I've been known to move out of town and get things I get mad and hit the road, Jack. And hopefully I don't. So I love it here too much. And I was in Phoenix long enough. I haven't been home enough to really feel like I'm home again. So, but we're getting there. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. Let's pick up Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Ron, a little bit of rain, 87 degrees. It's been dry here all day. Kind of a pleasant day to do things outside unless you're physically active. At times it was a little bit warm here. I'm showing 87 degrees right now, just south of Covington. My thermometer said 102 degrees earlier in the day. That was the peak today. And yesterday I forgot to reset it to record the high, but I saw it said 100. It may have exceeded that, or it may not have. Let's see, Bob, City Park, very peaceful there. Yeah, there's always something new to see over there. That's kind of funny. Certainly a pleasant day for a walk along the beach in Oak Harbor. Right as you were about to sign off there, you made some kind of comment about not freaking out any of the neighbors there. But just prior to your sign off, it sounds like someone maybe called the cops on you. I heard some sirens out there. Hope you're okay there. Dick, your audio's a little bit lower than usual, but we hear you okay. Glad you passed your test. Yeah, 2 to 6 weeks versus years here. Wonder why that is. Don't quite get it. Don't quite get it. But hang in there. I know I've seen some really nasty weather pass through that area that you're talking about this past winter. They got a lot of snow this winter, maybe not particularly cold. I think last winter was their colder winter, but this year is their snowy winter. And they've had some really, really high temperatures pass through there recently. So, I don't know. It is hard to beat the climate that we've got over here. So, as long as you can bear it, it's only you can make that judgment call. But rest assured, it's going to be hotter still in Phoenix. So, I don't know. Glad you survived that okay. Anyway, glad you're back. Good to hear you. And glad that things are kind of routine for you now. So that's good. Let's see. That's it for now. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO. Get a quick ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's pick up James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have audio here. We'll see how long I hang in here today with my network. Looks like I'm still on there. Well, let's see. Ron, yeah, the weather is of interest. Let me go ahead and flip the camera, see. Show you. It does look like there's a big band of thunderstorm activity going from, this is Mount Rainier, where it's just getting hammered. I hope this isn't the day anybody you know tried to climb Mount Rainier. And then it comes up here, way out west of Kent and southwest of Seattle. And the whole flow of this is to the northeast. So as I played around with this, you can kind of see how it worked. See if 30 frames a second, if that catches. Actually, that's catching pretty darn good, isn't it? But I live right up here, so I would imagine I'll be getting a little rain tonight. So that is very good news, because I was going to go out and water at 9 and don't think I've got to do that. So let's see. Bob, thank you very much for the beach pictures. You always have something a little to show. That was great. And that little shack, yes, I'm sure that must be kids. But I would start doing things like, if there's a belt out there, get an old pair of pants or something, put the belt on the pants, and then maybe make some stick legs and stand it up there, as the next step or something. Richard with no Kindle, I can't believe that. Now, I've heard about this. It's just a rumor, but Richard, there's this thing called a library where you can actually get these ancient paper books that are bound together with glue and actually sewed together on one edge. Doesn't need batteries, so I'm told. I'm going to have to look into that. The King County Library System, I'm told, is one of the best in the world. It should be, since we're all paying $200 a year for it, whether we want it or not. So that's a thought. Good news on your lungs there. I'm glad that you passed the breath test there, the breathalyzer or whatever it is that says you're not rejecting. That's good news. And that is interesting. Jim brings up a very good question. Why, in one state, can you get one in 2 to 3 weeks, and here it's 2 to 3 years? That doesn't make any sense at all to me. Are they doing more kidney operations here, so many that they eat up all the available kidneys, so it ends up being a 2 to 3 year wait list? Or is Ohio a no helmet law state, like I think it was Arizona? Was that where you were at? You need to move to a no helmet state with lower population, and then you'd probably have a kidney in no time at all, I guess. I'm not sure how that would work. There's obviously some kind of math there. I also have an electronics question to pose to the group, but I'll do that next time around, since it's only 8:18. It's going around pretty fast, and I'm sure we'll each get another couple tries at this. So I'm very pleased. One last picture here, and see how long that takes to come through. That's not much of a delay there. So anyway, this is James, WU7N, turning it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur.
WU7N, thanks with that. Let's go pick up Carlos, 87NP in Clyde Hill.
Okay, there's audio.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Great to see. Great copy, Bob. Congrats also on those headphones with communicator microphone. Very good quality. So I think that's working really well. I assume Bluetooth connection with your phone, as I have not seen any wires there, so that seemed to be doing a great job. Ron was also a good copy. In fact, Richard was a little bit on the low of audio, but that's why I guess we can still use the volume button here and just adapt it. So it was good copy. And also everyone else with good signal. James kind of worked at first try. It's good rapid turn on of the signal there. And James, I received the same board that you had for your VNA, quite fast, kind of the one with the Smith chart and all the other connectors. So that's some good things to go and play. I've been still working on my transmission amplifier, and it's doing well. I'm able to modulate and get the 250 watts out of it with a big heatsink. But now that this is generating so much power, I'm definitely worried about the sequencing to mount it on the dish, because I need to be careful that when the transmission starts, the LNA gets redirected to a dummy load. So it's an interesting sequence, as in, so when I activate the PTT, there's a sequencer circuit that activates two relays, one that switches the line between TX and RX, and the other one that switches the receiving end. There's a worry that the LNA being so close to the transmission antenna would pick up signal, and then I could fry the LNA. And so this whole sequence has to be carefully orchestrated, and I'm definitely worried about something going wrong. And so this is becoming a little more complex, because I need to send the signal back here to the station that the relays have moved, which good news, there's an indication on this coaxial relays that they have moved, and so I can detect this here on the circuit. And then the circuit needs to control the ALC to make sure that the radio doesn't send power until everything is switched into the right place, in case kind of any of the sequencer goes wrong. Or so it basically, it's a return channel based on the physical moving of the relay. So some more parts have to arrive before I feel confident about this whole system. So that's what's going on here. A lot of parts testing, and I'm trying to avoid on the electronics portion the usage of relays. I mean, there's many of these smaller relays, but these days it's much easier to use optocouplers and control the output. So that's what's going on, and I'll show some more pictures on the next one. Oh, and Bob, the network connectivity from that location was really good. There was no interruptions at all. So you have mastered the skill of broadcasting or transmitting from the Oak Harbor beach location. That is working really well. Okay, sending it back to Dave, Net Control from AD7NP in Clyde Hill.
AD7NP, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CYAM in Lake City. Well, my thermometer is showing 81 degrees outside, so it's really dipped down in the last 2 hours, 10 degrees. So it was like 91 here this afternoon. Well, I hadn't used my air conditioner in the car for, I guess, about a year, and I was surprised when I turned it on, and wow, it really worked fine. So I guess it's intact, and it ran for about an hour while I was out running errands, and really cooled down, enjoyed that. I made a Costco trip. Well, the neat thing with Costco, they just came out with sweet potato French fries. So I picked up some. I haven't tried them yet, but I'll be looking forward to that. But out running around, had to stop by Baskin and Robbins and get some ice cream this afternoon. And boy, what a nice treat that was. Enjoyed that tremendously. And so anyway, fighting some hot weather. Air conditioning worked fine. And the ice cream was delicious at Baskin and Robbins. So with that, I'm going to send it back up to Ron.
This is K9PQ. I did not see or hear Ron, and I did not see or hear Dave. I'll go back off the air and stand by for net control.
The gas war, or whatever you want to call the war, started and the price of gas went up. So I filled it up. And so now it's getting down to about a quarter of a tank. It's been quite a while. So today when I was out, I noticed that the gas price had increased at Safeway. Regular was at $4.66. It had been at $4.46 or $4.49 or something. So it went up about 20 cents, I would say. So I guess if I'm going to get gas, I better get it pretty quick. I think the premium at most of the stations, and that's what the Corvette takes, is over $5 a gallon. So, but the car is pretty easy on gas. I didn't check the mileage, how far we've driven it, but we've driven it quite a ways. All right, that's about all that's going on over here in North Tacoma. So we'll listen to what you guys are up to. So back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, thanks for that. And let's go pick up Bob again. K9PQ in Oak Harbor.
Okay, hey everybody. I don't know. Sorry if I interrupted Ron's transmission there. I was not hearing or seeing anything. So I went on the air, and as soon as I came back off, then I heard Ron. Did not see him, but I heard him. So I'm giving you a little bit different view. I decided to climb right into the middle of the driftwood. You know, we've seen plenty of beach for a while now, so let's get some driftwood. Let me turn the camera around. And we've got this one nice big piece right here, and I think it's kind of interesting how, I assume the water, well, I'm not sure. Maybe these were where branches were, these holes, and they were knots and got worn away by the water. I'm not sure, but kind of a cool look to that. And then we've got just, I don't know, half mile maybe of driftwood going all the way down the beach. And then, as I'm trying to very carefully step around here, preserve my ankles, plenty going down that direction as well. So there you go. I figured I'd give you a little bit different view than the usual sand view you've been getting, and just so we don't miss out on the water. There we go. This is called a Crescent Bay, I believe. I've seen it as Crescent Harbor as well. And I believe I'm actually facing pretty well south from here. So this kind of comes up into the island and then juts north up in the middle of the island. And which is, I think, why Oak Harbor is here. It's just such a perfect spot for mooring boats. And there is a little marina way in the distance. You probably can't see down that direction. Let's see. Thank you, Carlos, for your report. Oh, here we got a bird flying by. I don't know if you can even see him. Pretty small, probably on the screen. Yeah, thanks for the reports. This both for the headset and the transmission. You might actually be getting some wind noise on the headset. It does pretty well. I've used it here before. The breeze is kicking up now more than it was. So you might be hearing some noise. I'm trying to face away from the wind and minimize the noise. Oh, that's the jet. I don't know if you can hear the jet in the distance. Yeah, this city park, I've had generally good luck with transmitting here. My favorite park I'm finding that's close by is the Joseph Whitby State Park. It's a day-use state park, just a 7-minute drive from my home. And it's really nice, but it's terrible for cell phone transmission, which is what, of course, I need here. Okay, I'll send it on back, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, Katie7. Let's pick up Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, yeah, this is Richard, K7ITX, Northwest Kidney Center. Pardon me if my audio is low. Try to keep my voice down, not disturb the other patients here. Carlos, thanks for turning up the volume. I'm just not comfortable turning up my gain, which is my voice. So anyway, so I guess in celebration of having a clean bill of health at the University of Washington today, I found a pint-sized container of Talente gelato, the vanilla fudge cookie, so, you know, 95 degrees in the shade or not in the shade, sitting out on the lounge chair outside, eating that gelato. What a nice reward. almost feel like I owe myself another one, but probably shouldn't. Probably need to think a little bit healthier than that. We do have some cantaloupe in the refrigerator, but probably would be a better snack, if you will. Okay. Gee whiz. Don't have too much more to say right at the moment. I could talk about the cats, but it's probably going to come around to me again. So I'll save my cat stories for the next time I'm up to that. So with that, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. Let's pick up Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, thank you for that radar picture. I do recall seeing a little bit earlier that there was some weather down south. Seems to me it was around maybe Chehalis or something and heading north. I kind of forgot about that. I'll probably be getting rained on maybe even before the end of the net here, depending upon how fast that thing is moving. It certainly is going to get to me before it gets to you. Anyway, thanks for the radar picture. That reminds me of that weather. Carlos, sounds like you are making excellent progress with your installation there. That's both fun and frustrating at the same time, but that's okay. I guess that's part of the hobby. Dave, car air conditioning working fine. When you get a chance, remind me. I remember you had a Leaf, and then you got a newer Leaf, and is that what you still have, or did you get a third Leaf, or what's going on there? Just curious. It's encouraging to know that the AC is working just fine. That's what's good about that is it's the sort of thing, if it's hot outside and you're in your garage, you can go ahead and run the air conditioning and not have to worry about asphyxiating yourself. That's a good thing. And you mentioned sweet potato fries from Costco. I did not notice them at Costco, but then I didn't really look. My wife has been buying some sweet potato fries from Fred Meyer for a number of years. She's kind of addicted to them. She doesn't have them every week, but she certainly has. She goes through a bag maybe once a month or so, and she seems to enjoy them immensely. Ron, Wi-Fi in your master bedroom closet. Wow, it's almost like they don't want you to use it or something. I would have thought they put it somewhere else, but it is what it is, I guess. Good luck with that. And gas. Oh, yeah. Well, today I drove by Fred Meyer here in Covington, and it was $4.99 for a regular. I don't know. I guess it could always be worse, and I shouldn't say that. It probably will get worse, but that's what it is down here today. Bob, Crescent Bay, Crescent Harbor, thank you for mentioning that. I see that on the map, And yeah, I was curious how close you were to that. Well, now I know. So thanks for that. And the pictures of the driftwood and that bird that you were showing, we did see and we heard the bird. I don't know what he was yelling at you, but we saw and heard him. So thanks for that. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Pick up James now, WU7N, Northeast Bellevue.
Testing 1 2 3 4 WU7N. Okay, sounds like I got audio, and there's the call sign, and we're off 30 frames a second, like a herd of turtles. There we go. Okay, so anyway, Carlos, well, I'm glad you got your board, because I've been playing with a little bit, and there's a few things about that board. It's truly a Chinese teaching tool, because I have to figure out what the lesson is on the left side of the surface mount components. There's some surface mount components there with a little schematic, but there's only one place to connect one, I assume the port 1 on the vector network analyzer. So maybe we'll talk more about that. Of course, it is way more exciting, your sequencing project. Relays are not always bad. Until you get a lot of voltage, you can't bridge over, you can't arc over the top like you can on some semiconductor relays, at least the early ones. Lots of testing. I have a problem for the group. I have one of those tiny TINY frequency counters. It's very, very accurate. It uses the global navigation satellite system to discipline an oscillator inside. And one of the things you can do, though, with this frequency counter, it will also put out a square wave signal, and you can pick the frequency it puts out. And the kind of interesting thing about that is you can pick the frequency it puts out, feed it back into the counter on the device itself, and then you can send that counter out, which I did, to a oscilloscope. And when I had it on a 0.5 volt per division, it did exactly what I thought it would do. It showed me about roughly 3 volts peak to peak, and I referenced the ground on the scope. It was about, as you would expect, 1.5 volts positive and 1.5 volts negative. But here's the interesting thing. When I changed the number of volts per division, suddenly I lost the waveform entirely. It's like the scope didn't want to trigger anymore. And I'm wondering if anyone else has encountered that before. Let's see, what else? So that's my frequency counter and scope question for every.
Okay, I just lost everything. Let me try again. Okay, I'm trying to resequence here. Okay, I guess I got my 2 bits in a video. Maybe T-Mobile's decided that's enough for me for tonight. Other questions I had, Bob. The driftwood pictures are interesting, but what was the big cylindrical thing on the beach? Let's see. And Richard, don't worry about whispering into the mic there. I understand your environment. I just turned up my volume on the Windows app that Carlos did such a good job on, and I hear you just fine. I just turned the volume way up and then turned it down for everyone else. And Jim, gas $5 a gallon. Oh my goodness, I buy my gas at Costco, which is so far is the cheapest gas I could find around here. If anybody knows a cheaper place than Costco to buy gas, let me know. And with that, this is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Let me turn it back to our net control, Dave.
WU7N. Let's go to 87NP in Clyde Hill.
Okay, this is 87NP from Clyde Hill. Let's make sure we reduce the echo coming from the radio. So James, I was just kind of based on your comment, I was trying to connect the board. I was just filter on 400 megahertz. I haven't used this VNA in quite some time. But I think I need to figure out how to turn on the signal generator and then give it a try. I do see some signals of a bandpass filter, but maybe not. Oh no, yeah, I think it is on the right frequency. And so basically I injected the signal on the left side of the circuit. I'm doing number 11, LPF 400 megahertz. And then on the right, I'm doing the port measurement. So it seems to be doing something, this one. And Bob, another good copy. I mean, you started with some boat horn in the distance. We did see the bird. We got the jet, and we got all the driftwood sites, so everything worked just fine. And also good audio from everyone else. Regarding relays, absolutely. I mean the coax relays. I mean, there's no way around it. So I have two very nice coax relays from Dowkey that I'm now becoming an expert on finding them on eBay. And so they work nice. And in fact, based on this whole sequence, I'm setting up kind of something also for 2.4 gigs and 5.7. In fact, so it makes a lot of noise. Just got a 5.7 10-watt amplifier, also from eBay, that I'm gonna try. And so that's for when I'm done with the TX on the 23 centimeters. And then my 10 gigahertz beacon is also doing well. It's just kind of everything is functioning. I also use a GPS DO on that one. I use the one from Leo Bodnar, which I like a lot. So on the sequence of just kind of for Bob, yeah, there was a drop or something there on the application at the repeater site after Ron's transmission that somehow disappeared. So I'm looking at the logs and try to understand what might have caused it. So there was some transition from Ron into the next user that caused it to stop. So that's why you were not seeing it on the stream. So all good on your side. There was just kind of some interruption of the stream that hasn't happened. So definitely something on kind of changes recently that I have made that is causing that interruption. You know, it's like always, you try to solve one problem and you cause some other. So I will let the AI figure it out in a little bit on what might be going on. And the other device that I got that might also be interesting is just a power meter, because unfortunately the things on this very sensitive low power devices kind of very hard to measure on some of the meters that I have. So this is a USB-C power meter, power sensor, that also does a good job at low power. And you're right, Jim. It's the challenge of going through the process. And unfortunately, this is not something you can just go and look at some documentation and just do the same thing that everyone else does. Seems like everyone has a different radio, a different setup, and so you're building it as you go. And so some of these circuits are specific as you adapt to the radio. So in the case of the ICOM 9700, the ALC requires a voltage between -4 and 0. And so I will have to go and convert from the 12 volts that I receive from the amplifier, saying that that the whole circuit has been closed, and then convert that into negative voltage, and then make a divider to make sure it ends up on -4. So these are all kind of interesting puzzles. The good news is these days, once you understand the rules of the puzzle and what's your input, what's your output, then I have a dialogue with whatever the favorite agent of the day, and it draws a circuit for you in terms of what I need. So an example, let me see, where are my photos? So an example is, for example, this one. Let's just stabilize. Which is basically capturing the voltage from it, kind of converting it to negative, and then making the dividers back. And on this case, I was replacing the relay to then turn on and off with an optocoupler. But I think on this same one, here's an example of the circuit that was generated just with the relay for the same purpose, that will deliver the -4. So it will get the 13 back from the amplifier, and then it goes into -13 volts, and then a quick divider to get it -4. So it's quite fun to go through these puzzles and kind of add all these different components as you're building it. Of course, the end result is that as you're experimenting and you're just doing the proof of concept, the boards themselves don't look that pretty. But the first is just kind of doing the proof of concept. The other thing that it's quite interesting on these amplifiers is that they have an RF sensor that kind of provides a voltage monitor, and so this very, I think it's like less than $1 voltmeter can measure from 0 to 5 volts, and then it tells me kind of pretty much how much power is coming from the amplifier. And then my other approach is, rather than having all special cables, I just have Ethernet cables, well, not for RF, but for all the control. I have multiple Ethernet cables just going back from the station all the way to the roof, and then I just use different cables for different functions. So oops, what's happening with my RF? Okay, it's back. And then I just use the different Ethernet cables. Very good. So that's my last transmission. Thank you everyone for being on the net tonight, and I'll see you on Saturday. MP in Clyde Hill.
NP, thanks with that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, Carlos, I can really understand that you do want to have those circuit breakers in there, or the circuit control relays. When we were transmitting analog back on 434 frequency, we had a multiple antenna array up on Capitol Hill to receive 434, but also to switch those antennas around, we used a 70 centimeter frequency also. And so one of our gentlemen burned out his final on his transmitter for the ATV by transmitting to control the relay for the antenna that he wanted to receive on. And so he got his final repaired, got that back home, got it all working, and he did it again. And so they replaced that. Then the third time, I think he learned his lesson. There was 3 times he had to replace his final. But anyway, I can see it's very critical that you do that. And getting up to Bob, boy, up there on Oak Harbor, there was a story a couple of weeks ago where a lad was in one of those little log cabins, or those little shelters that are up there that they have on the beach, and a log came down and hit him in the head, and fortunately they flew him to Harborview, but he didn't make it. The injuries were too great for that to have happened. So anyway, be careful about getting inside those little cabinets or little houses anyway with that. And also for Ron, thanks for coming out of the closet. At least you got a good signal now. And speaking of Ron, let's go to him. KD7QKU.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. KD7QKU here again. Well, I don't have anything else to say. I enjoyed the net. I like to see what everyone is up to. That's a lot of fun. And I don't know if you guys saw him. Richard sent some pictures of the kittens. They have 4 kittens that his daughter rescued out back from under the neighbor's shed or something. They're cute kittens. I wonder if Richard's going to keep one of them to replace Mika. Their old cat that they had for many, many years. All right, well, 73 everybody, and like I say, I enjoyed the net. So, good night, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, and we got a little time. Let's see if we can pick up Bob again. K9PQ in Oak Harbor.
Can hear me or not. I'm just going to give it a little more time. I am not showing any indication on the streaming out. There we go. Well, that was a very long delay. Okay, hey everybody. I don't know how much you heard already. I had a very, very long delay before I even showed my call sign. So I'm here at a bench, and this is the plaque at the bench. I just thought I'd show that off. And I will also show off what I use here for my video. So I'm holding the phone in my hand right now, and what you see is my little contraption that I use when normally for the phone. Right now I've got the tripod set up, but I'm going to have to put the phone on here for a second. You can also convert it. The normal way I use it is with the tripod folded up, and it's a little tough trying to do things one-handed here. So the tripod part sits down below and it helps to stabilize the thing. And then you've got this thing for holding the phone, and it rotates so you can do vertical or horizontal. And then there's this detachable button here that you can use to start and stop the transmission. I need to talk with Carlos about that. I think that stopped working, but it might be operator error. It usually is. But there you go. This is what I use normally when you see me, and it does help keep the camera more stable, I believe. So I'm locking it back in, and I do need to. It is a little bit sensitive, wanting to be to tip. There we go. So once I've got it, set up, it really is quite nice as far as stabilizing everything. And there's my battery pack to make sure my phone doesn't go dead. So there you go. I thought you guys might be interested in that. Okay, 73 everybody, K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. And is there anything for anyone that we're about to button up the net?
Yes, N7QO. Bellevue Jim, there should be an area on the scope where you can select different triggering modes and methods. Probably there's a selector for trigger level. Try increasing or decreasing that and see if that makes your display pop up. That's the only idea that comes off the top of my head. And good night, everyone. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
Thank you, Jim. W7N.
And again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else wishing to sign in?
Sign in.
Well, hearing none, this has been the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net, broadcasting in digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, signing off the net at 9:04. Good evening all.
Good evening all.
Node 3464272 disconnected.